Craig gonna start.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the Bills, like you
All
said.
right, we're gonna
We'll
start
roll
with
with
the
them real quick.
Bills. Go ahead.
All right, the Bills. The Bills had a really good season last year, making it to the AFC Championship game. Their head coach Sean McDermott, who I personally like, he was the defensive coordinator for the Panthers for about 5 or 6 years, 2011 to 2016. So already I like him. So and he led the team, or he was the D coordinator when they went to Super Bowl. Um, it's this team is loaded, man. Like I love their quarterback. Like I didn't really like Josh Allen at first, but he kind of grew on me with his play on the field. Like I kind of thought he's gonna be a bust, honestly. But the numbers he put up last year, he's in the running. I think this year coming up for MVP, and I just think he's gonna have another great season. And then you add on the 17th game, that's even more numbers that he could put up. So I'm all on board with Josh Allen. I think winning the division last year for the first time in forever, it seems like, because that's been the Patriots' domain for the longest time. But no Tom Brady now, so now this team is now the team of the division, and Josh Allen is the star to me of that whole division. Like he's the best quarterback in that division. So I don't see no reason why they would take a step back this year. I think New England and Miami are probably taking a step forward. I think Miami had a solid year last year, even though they missed the playoffs. New England gets players back on defense, and possibly who knows what they're going to do with the quarterback position. The Jets are still a up and coming young team. They're still going to grow with their young quarterback, but the Bills are just like the cream of the crop, I guess, of that division. And then like it's just the only thing that I think is going to probably hold them back maybe is the running game, because Singletary and Moss they're not like Chubb and Hunt in that regard. They're decent running backs. They're probably middle of the pack running backs. Um, it's nothing special there. I don't even know who the starter is going to be. I think Singletary was the starter last year, and then kind of had some issues, fumbling the ball, getting in the end zone, things like that. And then they kind of brought in Zach Moss as he kind of took over last year. So um, uh, these guys just don't really. I just don't see 1,000 yards from either one of these guys, mostly because they're going to split carries or share the backfield, but nobody's really going to separate themselves from the other to take over the running back position. So it's just a little competition they got going on there. I think the wide receivers are solid. They don't have John Brown anymore. He was a solid number two, number three guy there. They still have Beasley. They got Emmanuel Sanders coming from New Orleans last year. Maybe he'll have an increased role. He really wasn't utilized that much in New Orleans, but maybe he'll show up this coming year with a better quarterback, basically. Stephon Diggs is clearly the one of the top receivers. He showed a lot last year, a lot of improvement. Saw what he can do when he's no longer with Minnesota's offense, and he comes over to this. And he had a breakout year last year, so I want to see him improve as well. Again, improve on the numbers that he put up last year, which he can because of like I said, the extra game, and then playing in the second year with Kyle Allen. Again, their relationship can continue to grow. Their offensive line is middle of the road, probably. They got Darrell Williams, Deion Dawkins, one of they're two of the better tackles, but other than those two, it's really like a who's who. Mitch Morse is still there or is there. So I believe they were ranked 10th last year. I think they kind of slide back a little bit with Dallas's offensive line getting healthy and other lines improving as well throughout the past offseason and the draft. So, but they're going to have to keep Josh Allen standing up tall, standing upright, and I think they have the group to do it. It's just going to be maybe a little bit tougher than it was last year. I like the pick out of Miami for them. Gregory Rousseau, is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
I think he's going to add to that defensive line and hopefully improve on that defensive line. So I think the Bills had one of the better defenses in the league last year, and I think they're still going to be one of the better defenses in the league this year. And you combine that with some of the stars that they picked up. The Bills should be a top 5, top 10, probably a top 10 defense, which is really good. And they should be contending again. And you got Tremaine Edmonds, another really good player. Matt Milano, I believe, is there as the linebackers. Like some more really good, solid players. They're not like superstars, but they're really good players that you can count on, that you can depend on. And the secondary, okay, just messed up. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, they're two of the better safety combos, if not the best safety combo in the NFL, and they're just going to have a field day back there, picking off Cam Newton and the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFC East. So I personally think 17 games. I kind of got the Bills going 13-4. 13-4. I think this team has all the capabilities of making another run. I think probably behind the Chiefs, they're the second best team in the AFC. Them and the Browns, I guess, are competing for that number 2 spot for me. But I think the Bills, with their experience and how they played last year, and the makeup of the team, and another year with Josh Allen, I think they're leaning towards number 2. So I got them at 13-4 coming up for the season.
All right. Cool. Corey?
Yeah. So when it comes to the coach, I like what Sean McDermott's done. He's done a really good job building that team in Buffalo, building a culture. The players seem to love playing for him. But this will be the first year that this team has really truly had the pressure of expectation. So how will that team respond, and how will he respond? For what it's worth, I think they will respond pretty well. But kind of like Cleveland, it's Buffalo's had a good year and then fallen off after. So it's the pressure's on to be able to sustain the success that they showed last year. When it comes to the offense, obviously, this team starts with Josh Allen. They took a step towards being a contender last year, and a large part of that was because Josh Allen took that next step as a quarterback. And he got paid for doing so. But now they got that out of the way. They've locked him in for a while. That's definitely good for the long term of the franchise. Allen can get out of the pocket and make some spectacular plays with his legs. He's got a cannon of an arm. So if he can, take that next step and keep progressing and keep that upward trend, Bills are in great shape. Personally, I love the Emmanuel Sanders addition. I think it's one of the more underrated signings of the entire offseason. He's always brought in to teams to be, the number 2 guy. But I feel like he always outperforms that number 2 responsibility. He becomes a favorite of the quarterback and a very dependable guy everywhere he's been, whether it's been Pittsburgh, Denver, New Orleans, wherever. We'll see about the running back room. Moss, Singletary, they got Matt Breida as well. We'll see if those guys can give them any sort of consistent running game, which is something that they really lacked last year. I think in that playoff game against Indianapolis, one of the big things that hurt them was they just could not establish any kind of running game, and it put even more pressure on Allen. Personally, while I think Russo was an interesting gamble at defensive end in the draft, I think they should have moved up and grabbed Najee Harris out of Bama. I think he would have added another dimension to that offense that would have really taken that offense to the next level. But we'll see if their running back by committee will be enough to get the job done for them. Because you look at some of the other offenses that could truly compete. They've oftentimes had somebody in the backfield that can do something, and Singletary's just been underwhelming. And so, yeah, we'll see. Defense, they doubled down on edge in the draft. seems like they may have looked at what Tampa Bay did to Kansas City last year in the Super Bowl and decided to take a page out of that playbook. Edge rushers can take some time to develop, though, but at the same time, they don't need those guys to start and contribute necessarily right away. They could use them as third down guys and to spell what they've got. So the defense is going to be good. As Craig listed, went through the list of guys that they've got. I would expect them to be a top 10 or 15 defense. And so overall, again, for the Bills, I think the season comes down to the pressure of expectations.
Okay.
Can they respond and can they do it again? What they did last year. Personally, I think they will be really good this year. So they've got a great foundation with their coach. They've got their quarterback. They've got some playmakers for him to get the ball to. And if Allen, continues to just take that next step forward and progress as a quarterback, then this team's going to be a contender for years to come. I agree. I think they're the second best team in the AFC. And I have them 14-3.
Oh, wow. Okay. I guess we're all on the page that the Buffalo Bills are, now going to rule the AFC East. I like Sean McDermott, man. I liked him as an extended coaching tree, coaching Andy Reid for a while in Philly, then came with Ron Rivera as a D coordinator of Carolina. I knew when the Bills hired him, he was a great hire. I mean, since he's been there, he's 38-6. I mean, that's good. They finished twice in the AFC East since he's been there, and last year they finished first, which is an accomplishment because the Patriots were there. I think he's just going to be a coach for a long time. Offense, Josh Allen, he just got paid. He was in the MVP voting. I expect him to be there once again. He's going to be in the MVP conversation. He's just a great quarterback, man. They got a great find from Wyoming University. Great find, man. And he was drafted. They traded up to get him, so which is good. The running backs are Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. Now, the good thing is that Zach Moss is getting a lot of reps in training camp. They said he's looked really good. So he's thriving. Offensive line, I think they're good to go. They got depth with Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle. Dawson Cox is the tight end. He's pretty good tight end. But as we seen last year, the main person is Stephon Diggs. And Stephon Diggs was exemplary last year. And, I mean, last year he made his claim as one of the best in the NFL. I love the signing of Emmanuel Sanders. He brings some added depth and veteran leadership. And I think that Josh Allen is going to really like him as a secondary receiver. Defense is stacked. Defensive line is stacked. Ed Oliver, Jerry Hughes. Then they drafted Greg Russ. Can't say his last name. Rousseau. Greg Rousseau. And he's added, so they can bring him along. And he can also be in key situations, third down, which is good. Linebacking core is Tremaine Edwards and Mark Milano. I mean, they're just a great tandem. Defensive backs, Tre'Davious White, underrated, is one of the best corners in the NFL. It has been for a couple years now. And then you have Micah Hyde holding it down. So, I mean, this team is just offensive, defense. They're kind of like the standard. They got one of the best young teams in the NFL, one of the best coaches. Josh Allen's extended, and he deserves it. Franchise quarterback. They made the AFC Championship last year, and I expect them to be 13-4.